Welcome to the Lovecraft Tapes. I am Jeremy, your keeper of arcane lore, and we play Call of Cthulhu, a sci-fi horror role-playing game based upon the writings of H.P. Lovecraft, as if you didn't know. Your investigators of the unknown are Brian.
Hello.
Jack.
Hello. Is this on?
Oh, it's on, baby.
Okay, good. Let's go.
Gabe as Roy.
I told Jeremy I had my questions prepared, but I don't.
Liar! And Matt as Rocky.
I told Jeremy that I didn't have my questions prepared, but I do.
All right. Welcome, players. Today we'll be answering listener-submitted questions regarding our recently completed scenario, Case 10 Praise. Spoiler alert. We'll be discussing all the nitty-gritty details of this adventure. So if you haven't listened yet, you might want to go back and start at Case 10, Tape 1, Prologue.
We will wait.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Right,
Jeremy dies in this one.
yeah, oh, shit.
Okay.
Hey,
you can't do that. You
Spoiler.
can't do that, man. Come on.
Call me Bruce Willis. Whoops. Before we begin, we do need to thank... Brace.
Willis.
Before we begin, we do need to thank our current patrons as of this recording who have contributed to the podcast via patreon.com/Lovecraft Tapes. Their monetary support has helped pay for podcast hosting, editing software, bonus tapes, and secret tapes that only they get to see.
Yeah,
Plus,
cool.
any other costs associated with production. So we'll go ahead and thank those folks now. Here is the list. Arissa, Zachary Harley, Jordy Rose, Chris Parker, Elizabeth Grieve, Jeff Berry, Jefferson Bell, Kyle K. Walker, Kyle Sherman, Boston Harbor Horror, Brittany Davis, Brownie Davis. A whole lot of Davises going on here. Corrine, Daniel Capron, Daniel Hissey, David Winterman, Davinia Von Zarovich, Dom Driver, Eric Phillips, Eric Zane, Frank Delventhal, Jeremy Griffith, John Imre, John May, Mal, Malambra 57, Mitchell, Olda Polkert, yes, Phil Dickinson, Quizzic, Robert Jameson, Shosuro Ajo, Snow, Wouter Vermeyen, Yog, A.E. Jonesy, a.k.a. Grave Jones. A.J. Ake. Oh, I'm sure I mangled that one. A.J. Ake. Okay. Alexandra Kruska, Bifford, Eric Setterberg, Gregory Schmucker, Holden Omans, Hoser _21, Ineptus Astartes, Jeffrey Young, Justin Levesque, our buddy Justin, Manic Bee Media, and we know who that is. Marty Dixon, Nicholas Hutto, Phil Campbell, Rolling Boxcars, keep thinking about you today, buddy, and Tien Tai. There we go. I think that's right. All right, so thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. We appreciate that you make this podcast possible, in part, and we love you guys. So,
Yep.
Now we begin the section where Gabe makes fun of people's names who paid extra to this fund.
Go, Gabe.
Go.
Who paid extra? I need a list.
Nobody.
Cowards.
So, just $1 a month extra, Gabe will make fun of your name live.
Never mind. There's no mechanism to actually make that happen, but
You gotta. So I'll put my PayPal in the Discord.
yeah.
Send him $1 and he'll make fun of you.
His Ko-fi.
Just tips.
All right, now
For
just
$30, I won't make fun of you.
yeah.
There you
That's
go.
a
Yep,
deal.
bitches.
That is a deal.
Hey, Star Players.
It's extortion.
Good to see you too. At least your words. All right, now, dear investigators, we recap Chapter 10, Praise. Previously on the Lovecraft Tapes. Jack, Roy, and Rocky settle into their new lives as Delta Green agents, some adjusting more easily than others. After a bumpy experience inside the Cathartic Arena virtual reality simulator, the trio are dispatched to Chicago in order to clean up after another agent's recent death, which leads them to the cabin in the woods, haunted by more than just bad memories. Ultimately, the investigators managed to squeak out of another horrifying situation and return to the Delta Green headquarters, where they encounter yet another sanity-breaking supernatural entity who is tied to the crimes of their past. All right. Yeah. Frowire asks, can we have Gabe insult people that didn't become patrons? Can you just start at the
Yeah,
A's?
but it's going to be a lot. It's
out.
going to be a lot meaner.
All right, let's get to our submitted questions for today.
Nice.
And give me 2 seconds here. I just want to do one little
1,000, 2 1,000.
And boom.
Time's
Okay,
up,
so
buddy.
we'll do Brian, then we'll do Matt, and then we'll do Gabe. I think we'll do that. So I'm just going to basically go through this in a cycle thing and cross my fingers as we go. Oh yeah, Star Play says, "Am I the only one who misses Samantha? Such a fun character."
No, you're not.
Yeah, lots of people have missed her.
I miss her too.
Yeah, so
Right, Sam?
yeah, she's right there. All right, so Chris Parker asks, "This chapter was a big shift in a few ways that took everyone to new territories, some brand new and others all too eerily familiar. For everyone, which investigator's arc has been your favorite to watch unfold?"
Ooh.
So why don't we start with Matt?
That is a good question.
Right? Which investigator's arc has been your favorite to watch unfold? I'll start off. This has been pretty easy, but I really enjoyed the way that Roy threw himself into the Delta Green situation. I thought that was fun, and I thought it made perfect sense in the context of the Bauman investigation, where he turned out to be the guy towing the line and wanting to do the right thing. I like that. I like that little twist. It didn't break character for me, so I thought that was fun. What do you think, Matt?
I was thinking along the same lines. I thought it was interesting to see how in previous investigations it was usually Roy who was the one going off doing the crazy things like shooting telephones out of people's hands. And yet this time around, he's the one who's insisting that we do everything by the book and we have to do this. And they said we do that. Where Rocky is now like, well, let's not. How about we do this instead? Whereas it has very much been the opposite in past tapes.
Nice. Brian?
I'm in the exact same boat. I was really impressed with the compassion that was shown. It's like he's finally stripping away all of the rough exterior. You know, we can't. It could be a woman down there. You know what I mean? The whole point of that was, I was like, this is awesome. He convinced my character. So,
all right, those guys are suck ups, Gabe. So
Screw you guys. I have to be meaner next scenario. Well,
It'd be a
my
really great
favorite
way to
arc-
stick it to the man is to listen to me next time I say something because I'm right.
what?
Oh, really? You just said that I'm your favorite arc and you suck. So
It's only because it's
favorite-
rude to say that you are your own favorite arc. It's like voting for yourself. And
well, I'm about to vote for myself to make it unanimous. I can say I like how Matt is a piece of shit asshole who nobody likes now. That's my favorite thing about Rocky is that he's coming to the dark side.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
I
like you guys are switching.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far with it. Don't worry, listeners.
Oh.
Or
I'm
that
a
Who
fan,
are you?
or that Rocky
the
and
way
Ray were the
that-
same all along.
and I'm a fan of the way that Brian hates Jack now and wants him to die.
I don't hate Jack.
Hate his guts. Toph asks, does Roy have a family or a brood? And of course, we know that. Yeah, he has a very Toph. If you have not gotten to those episodes yet, you might want to go for it.
Yeah, we might ruin a lot for you today.
Yeah, there's
Meet the Arroyos is a
He said,
fan
or a
favorite.
brood. He wasn't being like, does he have a family?
that's the question. Yeah, does he have a family?
Is it a family or is it a
brood?
brood? Is the question.
Yeah, maybe I missed
Yes.
that. Yes.
The ones I like are part of the brood, and the ones I don't are part of the family.
So nice,
Nice.
Raymond.
Raymond.
Raymond's yeah. All right, Dad. Okay, moving along. Greg Bevelheimer at Tanis_runner says, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'll start by saying that you guys were my first ever podcast, and the first episode I'd heard at that time was Case 5 Tape 2, which I think is that Hell House, Case 5?
Hell House?
I think it's Hell House.
I want to say Case 5 was Hell House.
Either that or My Life. I can get those two confused.
Interesting starting point.
Hey, thanks,
I know, right? Like, well, yeah. I still find myself laughing at the diner bit about the pot roast on a hot dog spinner. After that, I started from the beginning and have been hooked ever since.
Oh, good.
You guys are what initially inspired me to start running my own COC sessions, as well as looking into starting my own horror podcast.
Yeah, that's great.
My question is in regards to how you guys started posting your content. How does it end up on these several different podcast mediums? Did you submit your content on just one system and let it branch out from there? Or do you have to submit it to all of them individually? Thanks, and keep going strong. So this is a technical question that I can answer. We chose early on to use Podbean, only because it was highly rated and relatively cheap to host the actual files. And they have a system in place where they auto-submit to Apple Podcasts. At the time, it was iTunes. And usually if you get that one feed out there, then lots of other places will pick it up. So that's kind of it. I also, on the back end, have podcast creator accounts at Spotify and Google and all the usual podcast people, just so that I can monitor traffic and make sure that the feeds are actually going out properly and on time.
Right.
But that's basically it. So Podbean, they're okay. They're relatively cheap. I think I pay, I don't know, $100 a year or something like that to host it. They're kind of quirky in the back end, so it's not super duper easy to like upload stuff. But once you figure it out and you get a routine going, then it's not too bad. So,
well, they're not the only ones that are quirky in the back end. Am I right, Brian?
Yeah,
well, of course.
So hopefully that answers your technical question. And as always, we're happy to help other podcasts get going. So if you have any other technical questions, feel free to just at me directly, and I'm happy to answer any of them. So, okay. BCP asks, when exactly did Omega Red become a thing, and who decided it was more than just wordplay? Was everybody in on the twist, or did the players naturally react that cool? What do you guys think?
I'm
pretty sure
it was natural. But who wasn't it? Gabe? Didn't you?
I think Gabe was the one who started the joke about Delta Green, Omega Red.
It was just something I was like, oh, well, obviously. It was like, oh, well, they obviously have some competition, and all competition is exact opposites of each other. So,
I mean, that's what movies have taught me.
Yeah, that was funny. And we just ran with it because it was awesome.
Yep, that's it exactly. And once Roy put that out there, I was kind of like, well, duh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or Gabe, rather. And so I started just sort of writing it in as part of the plot. And it's paid off some dividends for sure. It's kind of weird, too, because I'm like, is Omega Red actually a thing? Like, I had to Google it to make sure that I wasn't, like, borrowing someone else's concept. And I think the only thing I came across was there's a superhero or a supervillain out there called Omega Red in some series.
Omega Red sounds like some sort of vitamin supplement.
It does, yeah.
Take your Omega Red, kids.
I like to think that in the Call of Cthulhu world, Omega Red isn't real, but someone at Delta Green is paranoid about its existence.
Ooh,
nice.
I like that too. Yeah, we don't know for sure whether or not Omega Red is an actual. We've never met anybody other than spoilers, obviously.
Yes.
Jacqueline, who is supposedly and also potentially Detox.
Yeah.
We've heard that they are.
Well, they've labeled them as.
Yes. So, well,
and just because Delta Green labeled. Yeah, and just because they labeled them that way doesn't mean they are. It could be we need to get rid of these people. How do we do it? Oh, they work for this other company.
Right.
Could be their excuse to eliminate people they don't want around any longer.
Exactly.
But Epsilon Yellow is confirmed as real.
That's true.
You're right. We're just going to go through the Greek alphabet and just do the thing here. So, Okay, give me 2 seconds. I gotta do one quick thing here, just to
You count this time, Matt.
make a sure.
1,000, 1,000.
Why did I do that? Interesting. And boom. Okay, let's see.
Uther Pendragon, I can neither confirm nor deny that statement.
We'll never know the statement.
Was Rocky's company Sigma Purple?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, you'll never know.
I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Exactly. Okay, so and then also Starplay says, are your scenarios homegrown, aka original content, or are you planning on hitting some of the more popular Call of Cthulhu scenarios? I'm always curious about the more unique plot lines. So I'd say we have a pretty good mix. Right now I lean more towards 60% published, only due to time constraints. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to do is marry my stuff with stuff that's regularly available. So, for instance, I make it very clear that the thing that we just did, Case 10, had a published scenario at its core, and I built bookends and sort of wove stuff in the middle. And I think that one was The Things We Leave Behind is the scenario. And actually, I think I might be giving that a shout out here at the end. I don't think so. Nope. So that's that. And so I do about probably 60% published. I have no plans really to hit the more popular Call of Cthulhu because I think it's been done so much.
Yeah.
I'm not super duper interested in doing stuff that's already been done to death. If anything, I'm going to do stuff that is changed in some fashion.
Yeah.
So even if I do use something that is out there widely available, probably going to mix it up a bit. So, okay, let's jump into some of ours before we round back to the listeners. I've got something for Brian here. This is going to be a... Okay.
Yes.
Runaway, Brian.
So something bad seems to happen to all the women in Jack's life.
True.
Do you think that's coincidence, or is there something else at work behind the scenes?
I have never thought about it.
Yeah.
I do think that Jack maybe have a dark
women.
It's true, but maybe has a dark cloud over him that's following. Not a curse so much as just the bad luck.
That bad luck is called the Keeper.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so that's your theory. Do you think that Jack realizes this is the case, or is he suppressing that realization?
No, he doesn't realize it because he rationalizes everything as just out of his control when it goes wrong, rather than it's happening because of him. So he'll never know because he's always in his own scenario.
Right.
So he'll never know if that was the case or not.
So whether or not he's aware of the phenomenon, it has to take a toll. How do you think Jack has changed since being a young boy whose mother is abducted by a cult to being a grown man whose recent love interest turns out to be a spy?
Right. Well, he hasn't had time to process that yet because he just found that out. But I think that over the last probably scenario and a half, he's learned to, with the body switching and everything, he's learned to maybe let a few things go that he didn't think he ever could. Just let it, you know what I mean? And start focusing on the present and bettering himself and moving forward and focusing on work. That's why he's got that tunnel vision and doesn't see that it's all the bad stuff that happens. He's always there in the middle of it.
Okay.
That could possibly be the effect of that.
Nice. Okay, Brian, why don't you ask a question of somebody?
What do you think about Jack's? Oh.
What
Matt.
do you think about it?
Oh, wait, no. Gabe.
But no, Jeremy.
Jeremy and Matt in order. Do you think that Roy has a substance problem?
I think he probably does, but I think it's something that he just will never address, and he doesn't worry about it. It's something he can sort of control because he is frugal and doesn't want
to pay for anything.
He doesn't want to pay for it, so he only gets it when it's there. But when it's there, he goes overboard.
And could he quit anytime he wants?
Anytime he wants. when he wants to,
He can stop anytime he wants, starting tomorrow.
not when you want him to.
All right, good. How about you, Gabe? Who you got? Something for somebody?
For Jeremy, everybody's favorite segment seemed to be Cat Thulu. Everybody loved it. So how would it have gone differently if Matt wasn't a loser who rolled badly?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So for everybody who is not up on this, I've admitted as such on Twitter and on Discord, but essentially I screwed up the rules. I basically just reversed them. So what should have been successes should have been failures, and vice versa. So that contributed to a lot of angst and confusion during the playthrough of those 2 episodes that we played Cthulhu. And for that, I'm deeply sorry. But so it obviously would have been much smoother. You guys would have picked up on the clues much quicker, much easier. And as a storyline, it would have probably taken about the same time. But I think it would have been a much less stressful situation for everybody involved. And it would have made more sense to the investigators. In the final analysis, it didn't contribute much to, because that was only meant to be a little blip. And that's kind of what it ended up being. But it was much more contentious and uncomfortable than it should have been for everybody involved.
Yeah.
So,
Matt's over it, though.
He's totally over it.
But more so,
He's ready to play again.
If we had succeeded, would there have been any more story differences?
No, absolutely not. Nope. It would have turned out the same.
The main arc happened still.
Yes.
With
Bauman. Yep. But yeah, in that too. So yeah. So somebody was probably going to touch this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys came close, but so where it ended up with, I felt, was more satisfying. But I mean, yeah, to answer your question, Gabe, yes, there is the one component that would have never taken place, probably. And that, of course, was the Bugshosh thing. That was completely, it was not planned. And I had to figure something out in order to make it, and it actually worked out better. So, yeah, that's it.
Happy accidents.
Happy accidents. Speaking of Matt, how about you? You got something for us?
I hate everything.
Well, suck. Jeremy.
Yeah.
They say that learning from your mistakes is smart, but learning from others' mistakes is wise. So in all your hours of listening to other people's podcasts, have you ever heard something where you're like, wow, I really need to not do that, or okay, that doesn't work?
Yeah.
And what was it? And have you ever worked it in to make our show a little better?
And call the podcasts out and tell them that they're
wrong. Yeah. Well, okay. So, yeah, I listened to a lot of podcasts before we even started the show, and to me, the biggest thing was audio quality.
Okay.
And to make sure that even though we're all human and we all have our outbursts or our sneezes or our coughs, all that stuff, our flubbing lines, whatever that may be, early on I wanted to make sure that we didn't disrupt the listener's experience by introducing too much. Like here we're on YouTube and it doesn't matter. Everybody understands and appreciates that we're live and shit can happen. But in the context of a podcast, do a little work.
Yeah.
Add 10 minutes to your thing to cut out all the sneezes and coughs, that sort of thing. Because it's only going to help with the listener experience. It is an audio medium, and you don't want, someone hacking up a lung.
Yeah.
And I was shocked and amazed how many actual play podcasts would just let that in. And I get it. Yeah. Like not everybody wants to spend the time to do it. And so early on, that was the one mistake. I was like, we have to at least sound better than most podcasts.
Right. And
I think we've accomplished that over the course of time.
Yep.
So does that answer that, Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we'll move along back to listener stuff.
Cool.
John May asks, do you think you will stay in the current time period? Do you have any plans to do any 1920s or 1940s Pulp Cthulhu era games? And I apologize, John, but this is a very simple question. No, we have no plans to do any 20s or 40s Pulp Cthulhu era games. Yeah. I think we'll stay in the current time period. I can't promise that, but I have no affinity. I never have for any 1920s, 1940s timeline stuff in Call of Cthulhu. I just don't dig it that much, and it's not that interesting to me. I did like the 50s thing because that was like, noir, pulp noir kind of stuff. So it had a little bit of a touchstone for me, but I find it much more interesting to do things in modern day. Yeah. Not even future doesn't make me all that crazy. But I'm not saying that we can't have little one shots that do that,
right? Or
maybe an episode where somebody finds themselves in a different time period because it's Call of Cthulhu. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. So that's a very simple answer for a question. So I hope nobody's too keen on the 20s thing because I don't get
and
crap.
One shots also fill that in too. Yeah. Now and then we can do something that's a little off, like we go back as children. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just those one-offs are fun just to be just to let loose as players. I really enjoy the one-offs to be able to do that.
And we've been playing in Brittany's Harrisonville, New Jersey campaign, and that was kind of fun. That takes place in the 20s. It
was really fun.
It all boils down to the central mystery and whether or not that's compelling.
Right.
And in her case, it was for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. So.
But case 69, we're gonna time travel all over, right?
Yeah. I'll make that promise right now. Yeah. Case 69 is going to be
a time machine.
Time machine. It's going to be Roy.
Hot tub time machine.
Roy going back to meet all versions of himself.
Yes.
It's gonna be incredible. You guys should
time travel.
I'm gonna hold that audio
until the year 2053. All right. So Toph asks, me and my wife want to have a Lovecraft Tapes themed dinner. Put on your thinking caps, guys. Ooh. What, in your opinion, would be the perfect meal for that? Obviously, taco fish is a must. Like appetizer, entree, dessert, and matching beverage. So why don't we assign each of you one of these things? So Brian, you want the app?
Yeah.
I'll take beverage. Why not?
You want the dessert or the main course, Gabe?
I'll take the main course.
Yes, you will.
So dessert for you. So who goes first? I guess beverage would go first.
Oh yeah, true.
And I will say, I think like just a nice Manhattan would be great. I just like I think like what Roy drinks, and
smoker's cough.
Smoker's cough. Boom.
Smoker's cough.
Oh God,
that's the worst thing imaginable.
In advance.
Yeah. I would do a version of that. I would make it a Manhattan, and just do a little bit of maybe the smoker's cough could be like some very smoky bourbon. I think that would be lovely. Is it bourbon or whiskey? It's in Manhattan.
It's Jaeger.
Yeah, it's Jaeger.
And a smoker's cough is Jaeger, which I love. So I'm actually a huge. What is in a smoker's cough, anyways? It's
Jaeger and mayonnaise.
A shot glass with Jaeger and then topped with mayo.
Yeah. Okay.
And it curdles.
Does anybody actually eat that or drink that? I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Roy does.
Roy.
Now I do love Jaeger though, so I would say a shot of Jaeger, and then I would do a Manhattan just to kind of wash it down.
Well, there you go.
That's what I would
Roy
do.
doesn't drink smoker's cough. Declan does.
That's right. That's right. Sorry.
So Roy would be more the nice standard.
He also doesn't eat McRibs, does he?
All right, what's next? Appetizer? No. Appetizer,
yeah, calamari, of course.
Ooh, from the tapas restaurant?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. You got to have very small plates.
Do you like...
one calamari per plate. Barbie plates.
Is it deep fried or is it sauteed?
Sauteed, of course. You got to see it.
No deep fried. Nice.
You got to see it.
All right. And then main entree, Gabe?
I'm going to throw it back to an older thing, something we haven't talked about in a while, but I think that you got to do tapas, don't you?
Yeah.
Because everything goes on around the tapas restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It's the heart and soul of our town. So that's just what you got to go with.
Nice. What's your favorite tapas?
I don't know. I've never had tapas.
I could do pinchos. I could do little toothpick things. So
You can eat toothpicks.
I'm trying to think of, Brian, what's a really good tapas we've had? The ones at in Grand Rapids, John May would know this, is San... Oh, shoot, what's the name of
Diego.
the Spanish restaurant in downtown?
It means a whale.
Francisco.
Francisco, no. That one we've had blue cheese fritters, which are really nice.
Ooh, nice.
Oh my gosh, they're filled just like little puffs, deep fried puffs filled with blue cheese. That's more of an appetizer, though.
Yeah.
You know, an entree. I guess the taco fish would be the entree. But maybe the tapas would be like some blue cheese fritters, and sardines are
No,
pretty.
you
good
got
too.
not if you have enough of them.
What
You're right.
It's the tapas
pork dish
restaurant.
we had at Purple Pig.
Purple Pig would be the milk braised pork.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Pork shoulder
So good.
at Purple Pig in Chicago, which is amazing. All right, how about dessert, Matt?
Well, someone earlier in the chat said they missed the Italian restaurants. So for dessert, I gotta go with the classic Italian cannolis. You know,
Nice.
nice pastry
They have
shell
eyes
filled
in
with
them.
that cheese.
They're Italian cannoli.
Yeah,
That's the best dessert.
Gotta get some cannoli with some zabillon. I don't know. All right, moving along. Is losing Ineptus Astartes asks, is losing the Louisiana accent for Jack Dan intentional, accidental, or just got sick of doing it?
Intentional, for sure. Because being a new body, different vocal cords, I figured the character would be, and I went back and listened to probably 4 or 5 episodes of Dan, and he just straight talk. So I just figured I'm going to do the straight talk, and then every once in a while, when I get heated or into some situation, it kind of starts to come back out with that grumble and that roughness. So you can see the struggle within the mind and the body that he has.
Mm-hmm. That duality.
Oh,
Okay. I'm going to ask Matt, if still alive, what is Declan up to right now?
Weekend at Bernie's 3?
Yep. If he's still alive, probably trying to deal with the body he's in, which means he's probably doing a lot of working out, a lot of high protein diet, trying to get back into shape he was in his other body. He's very, very fitness oriented and likes to be, super on top of it and in shape and ready to go at any moment.
Smoker's cough.
What about Dan?
Ribs.
What do you think Dan's up to right now? If he's still alive.
He's probably still looking for Sam.
On the prowl, on the search, huh?
Mm-hmm. He does not give up easily.
All right. Well, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler, guys. The patrons know.
What?
All right. Brian, you got a question for us?
Yeah, I will give $5 to any patron that lets me know what's going on.
Or you could just give $1 to the Patreon.
I could give $1 to 5 patrons. It's still $5. Okay, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Did you have the plan to bring back, spoiler alert, Detox since they died? Or was this something that developed over the course of this chapter?
Well, I planned it before the chapter or the case.
Okay.
But I did not always have it planned. I did feel that Detox got a raw deal. And I wanted to see them come back in some fashion. But I always had, Brian, I think I have to go back and check my notes, but I believe at the beginning of case, because Bloodlines was 6, right?
Yeah.
Right? 6 or 7?
Yeah.
So in 7, I think I've always had this idea that Rocky would check his phone and see this weird app on his phone. And that it would, when he dug into it, it would say detox on it. And it was just like this little plant, this little seed. I was I got to do. So this actually just sort of, because of all of the technical stuff anyways,
yeah,
right, the Catholic Arena and the digital VR stuff, all that, I thought it made perfect sense to like introduce that in a huge way. So yeah, I did. It wasn't always planned, but it was like a little seed, and it was planned before this one because I thought this could be cool. This could be cool. Hopefully people dug it.
Is it okay if I ask Matt his question because it goes with what your answer was?
Fine.
Okay, cool. After seeing the app on your phone, will you try to contact and work with Detox?
If it really is still her, yeah. I mean, Rocky's still on the inside. He's still looking to take advantage of every single opportunity he has, leverage every single resource he has. So if that means going back and seeing if Detox is still Detox, then yeah, he'd definitely take a shot at it.
That would be cool.
Although I just never check my phone because every time I do, Jeremy tells me that I don't have any goddamn cell service.
I also have a Detox question.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Is Detox going to hold a grudge against me? And if so, can I put in a good word?
No, I don't think Detox
we'll see what
is
we
gonna,
can do.
Yeah, I don't think Detox is going to hold a grudge.
If anybody, it'd be against Jack.
Yeah, I don't know. Did Detox seem revengeful at all when you encountered her at the end of this episode?
No, I did not read it that way.
Almost like warning us. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. Well, this leads into one of my questions then. What is your theory about who Legion might be?
It's a movie from the 90s.
It was a TV series on FX.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
That's
who we think it is. Ooh, that's good. Huh.
Well, I mean, we know that there are things that exist beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've dealt with them more than once. So I get the feeling that Legion is definitely from that realm of it's not from here. It's something that's out there in another place. But just because everything we've seen so far that's from out there has tried to kill us, it doesn't mean that there might be something out there that wants to help us instead. Right. So maybe we're just seeing the other side of that extra dimensional coin, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Legion is... I don't remember the verbiage we used for that goop that overtook Detox.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it has something to do with that.
Ichor, black ichor.
The ichor. The ichor. It has something to do with... Legion has something to do with ichor, and also We Are Legion is just a cool sentence.
I just want to know what
the context of the first Ghost Rider movie, and then.
Oh, true! How dare you?
What were you gonna say, Brian?
The best Ghost Rider movie.
Kick him out.
Kick him out.
I would just like to know what color that they are, so we can start referring to them as Legion Orange or whatever. Instead of Delta Green, it could be Legion Orange. I like Orange. That. Yeah,
Legion Chartreuse. Sounds good.
Wasn't Legion Orange that stuff they used in Vietnam?
Kind of, except with the agent instead of Legion.
Yeah, it was Agent Orange that produced legions.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. All right, let's go on. Chris Parker asks, for the players, what do you think lies in store for your investigator now or in the hopefully far future of your inevitable curtain call?
Well, after playing this for, 3 and some plus years... We have no clue. we kind of jump on the train and this is our stop. Alrighty.
Sure, but I mean, you guys have left at a certain spot.
Yeah.
You've heard hopefully the epilogue, and so you kind of know on what track your investigator's going. So where do you think that's going to lead? Is the question.
Oh, to a lot more distrust. Matt.
If Rocky's going down, he's dragging the entirety of Delta Green with him in a giant flaming mass. So
Roy will
Gabe?
never die.
Right?
He is immortal.
Oh, I mean,
Eventually-
actually, Rocky is a little more immortal now. I mean,
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
did you die and come back to life? I don't think so. Twice now.
I'm pretty
Twice
sure I
I've done
have, my guy. I'm pretty sure I have a couple times.
Yeah, we all have. Roy's going to be strapping him to a pole with his 4.
Eventually, Roy
Three.
is going to be the leader of Delta Green.
Ooh.
He's gonna take it all over.
Nice. And then declare it.
Delta Boston Celtic Green.
Celtic Green. Rebrand. All right.
And on that note, can I actually ask Gabe a question?
Yeah.
Because I have something that's related.
Go.
So, Gabe, as you're playing, Roy, who apparently has middle management written all over him. Delta Green, we're looking for someone who can help us pivot our resources to more effectively leverage those inter-office synergies in order to find more bandwidth to help, accumulate to the best practices to add value to the bottom line of the company. And then we want to kind of circle back to optimize for our best strategic fit in order to generate those new ideas to kind of run up the flagpole. What's your plan?
All right. So I don't know about all that, but what I do know is that you need people. This is a people industry, and you need people that know how to work with people. And I got a lot of kids. I'm all about family. I'm Mr. Family Man. You see my brother's following me around because he loves me so much. I don't know if I feel the same about him, but I'm a people guy, and this is a people industry, so I'm the man that you need for the job.
You're hired.
I
All
work
right.
with people.
Nice. People.
You want me to sell you a pen? I'll sell you a pen.
So you
I'm a
fucking
people
pen.
person.
All right. BKG Sullivan asks, I can't stop thinking about Roy while my landlord installs screen doors. Jeremy, how do you decide when to ignore Gabe's ridiculous ideas and when to assume he really means for Roy to act that way?
I don't joke.
Right. Yeah, so that's been the evolution of my understanding is that the only way to get along with Roy is to get along with Roy. And so I have learned to say yes and wherever Roy wants to go is probably a place that, it's not going to bust up the podcast. It's not going to derail us to a certain extent. And for the most part, any friction I've had in the early episodes has diminished greatly. So it's fun to just kind of play along and introduce some NPCs that he will play nicely against him or with him. Mm-hmm. And that's that. So there is no difference between Gabe's ridiculous ideas and Roy's ridiculous actions. So
The only difference to add to that is Gabe knows when to veer it back,
right?
To where when we need to, he's like, all right,
Yeah.
So let's get going to the hotel. You know what I mean? It's not like he would go forever if it was just Roy doing it.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes we have to cut out some stuff because we do riff.
Oh, and we crack each other up, and we're like, okay, we gotta stop. We're going off on a.
I want to do a whole episode that's just Roy walking around a train station.
Doesn't say anything.
Just watch. It's completely
You just hear train
silent
noises. It's ASMR.
Yikes.
Footsteps and train noises.
All right, so that was BKJ Sullivan. There's two other ones that sort of impinge upon this. BCP says, since you have the Odin to your Isis now, there's got to be a Barry to rival Roy. Deal?
Ooh.
So I'm like, do we need like some sort of foil for Roy? I think it's
like a hero to battle Roy. The villain?
Yeah, like sort of like there's got to be somebody who's pushing the other way. So
yeah,
an additional ridiculous.
Yeah,
I feel like my greatest foil would be someone who is completely responsible in every way.
Like your brother. No.
Yo, yeah, he's so responsible. Let's just drop a Molotov in this septic tank and move on.
Well, it would be fun to like introduce someone who is also up for promotion at Delta Green, and so you two are vying for the same position.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Have a
on
whole
every
episode that's
level.
just like Office Space, but Roy versus Barry to see who gets the
we're gonna have
promotion.
to have you come in on Saturday.
I wouldn't try that hard.
Yeah, my name is
No, I'm out.
my name is Ao Royoyo.
It's just Royo all spelled backwards.
Troy Torrio.
There you go, Troy. I'm one up on you. In the
What
tea
was the
department.
name of the rival family, Gabe?
Oh, I think the
The Delaney's, right? No.
So one of the DeLucas shows up.
DeLucas.
with, Delta Green, and
Was
this
it
is
Tommy
direct competition
DeLuca?
for your promotion. Yeah,
that would
Tommy
be
DeLuca shows up.
so much fun.
That'd be great. Actually, that's a good Stephen Crumpet, double agent. Shh, Uther.
Stephen Crumpet works
I'll
for.
pull up their names. We haven't referenced them in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy. I think it's Tommy.
I think it's
Tony
DeLuca.
DeLuca.
Yeah,
DeLuca
DeLuca was
is-
definitely one of them. I think there was another family early on, but I think we switched to the DeLucas
Yeah.
because it made sense. All right, I got a question for. Well, actually, this is for Gabe. Yeah, we know that Roy loves it, but what is your personal
butt.
stance on napping, and do you nap?
Ooh.
I don't want to. I kind of don't want to like ruin people's opinion of me, but I cannot nap. I just can't. Whenever I try, I just can't fall asleep. It's hard for me with the sunlight, you know. Even if I close the blinds, it's like I'd rather just stay up until I have a hard time sleeping in general. I'm sort of insomniac, so when I just lay down, it doesn't really work. I basically got to go until I'm exhausted to the point that I pass out. That's
Have you
generally.
tried closing your eyes when you sleep? Or?
Oh, wait, that might help.
Yeah.
Maybe if I laid
That's
down,
when
that
all the
might help.
scary things happen, Brian.
But my routine is to put tape and pull it back.
Were you one of those kids who fought to be put down for naps?
Probably. I don't really
You don't
remember.
remember? No, because they like put the sleeper hold on you.
I am
Brain
often
damage.
told that I was a much better kid than I am an adult. So
I liked
were
you
so
better when you were
quiet.
younger.
Are you a subscriber to the theory that some of the best minds and geniuses throughout history replenish their creative powers through napping?
yes, I subscribe to this theory. That's why I can't nap.
Can you send me a link? Because I'd like to subscribe to.
So I'd be
Yeah,
like,
it's a YouTube channel just called Theory.
nice.
Which kind of theory you're looking for?
Yes.
It's just called theory. Okay, I think we got one other question. Do you guys have anything else?
I'm good on my end.
Okay, Matt,
I'm good.
Gabe.
I am good.
Oh, actually, no. I never asked Brian your question, did I? Now
You're
that I looked at my
good.
list. So, at the end of the last chapter, you seemed pretty eager to take Legion's deal on going wherever you go when you hook up with Legion.
Oh.
Are you really that eager to move off of Jack and maybe find someone new? And if so, do you have like any ideas have you been holding on to for maybe a new Delta Green agent to join the team?
I think Jack wanted to move along because he had the promise to see his sister again. I believe in his mind he would be able to be reunited. And I think he was just so tired at that point from everything that he had just gone through and seeing the horror of everybody around him dying and then coming back and it still doesn't end, that he was just ready to let it go. But now after the detox, I think that he's reinvigorated to realize that maybe he didn't kill the detox like he thought he did. And he could move forward and figure out what's going on and maybe possibly help Jacqueline as well in the process. So I just played the character the way the character should be played. I think that's in my opinion. So me personally, I have nothing lined up. I would have had to scramble if Jack did go. So
Nice.
I just tried to play them like I think they should go, like they would be true to themselves, the characters. So that's what I did.
Cool. Gabe, anything else?
I'm good.
All right. So for
I
those,
kind of had.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm imagining Rocky and Roy trying to work together without Jack in the middle, and it's just like a knee without cartilage, just grinding bone on bone.
Sorry, Gabe. What were you gonna say?
I was just saying that I had a similar question to something that was already asked, so I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay. For those who are in the live chat, we have 2 more questions. So if you got any more, go ahead and pop them in there. Otherwise, we'll take care of these, and then that will be that. So I see that Sam Bifford has mentioned. He said, as I mentioned in the Discord chat, I played in the same scenario of the house and the thing in the pit, the septic tank, and our group played it much more carefully, managing to deal with the thing in the pit without letting it out. How gratifying was it for Jeremy that they let it out and you got to play with the brutality of that? That's part 1 of his question, and I can answer that. It was a lot of fun because I wasn't sure how. Like, I thought for sure maybe they would just dispatch it and throw some gasoline down there, but they had already popped the hatch to a certain extent, so it had an out to get out. So once they unlatched it and did not ever relock it, it was going to be some sort of confrontation. So, but if they had like figured out a way to block it, or actually there's a pipe that was the site or the air or whatever it was that they could have poured that into and just lit it, then that would have taken care of that whole business, and I would have had to come up with something else to figure some stuff out.
Right, because I would have ended it quick.
Yeah, I probably would have thrown the kids in there as a foil so that they'd have to interact with them slightly.
Burn the kids up?
No, I mean into the plot, whereas they were just peripheral characters, and so it was gratifying that there was an escalating piece of action that was kind of fun. And then Sam's second question, second part of that is, how did the player characters feel with all the ensuing death and loss of lives? So how did you guys feel about, killing Marlene and then also having Rocky die and then Roy pretty much almost die?
Well, as a player, it was shocking, obviously. But as the character, I kind of just explained that I was like ready to just be done with it. I just couldn't take any more of that, It
was definitely interesting being on like the outside of that as a player, where you go, well, that's that's how it happened, and you're just sitting there like, well, now what do I do?
You've never experienced
Rocky though. He's like, nah, it's cool. I wanted to burn it from the start, so none of this is my fault, and therefore I hold no responsibility for it.
Yeah.
Just another day at the office for Roy.
Yeah.
But for you, though,
there's a lot of fun combat, though.
Yeah.
It was all very, really intense. Like I just like to picture the image of Marlene's legs just speared to the ground with a stick, just running in a circle as Rocky just pours the gasoline on it.
Yeah. Hey, if we would have taken care of it earlier, we could have had really cool hours upon hours of dialogue with young kid, with the kids of the guy who passed. So
hey, Gabe, roll for small talk.
That's a bonus.
Matt was fighting for the scenario that would have given me the upper hand.
I'm only trying to do what's best for you.
Comes out dressed like the dad again.
Yeah, and I guess the sort of springboard on Sam's question. So when you guys are like, obviously confronted with a situation where you're like, okay, something's going, like something bad is clearly being set up here. But so you have that push-pull, like, okay, I need to be in character and not realize. So it's a tightrope, and I would say that some of you did better in adhering to your character's motivations, and then I also felt like a little bit of player knowledge was seeping in slightly here and there to dictate your actions. How do you deal with that? How do you process that in your head to make sure that you don't tip one way or the other? Tip too much into the player.
Ooh, I play it as the character straight. I try to. So that's why I was convinced the other way, is because Roy had such a compelling argument that, well, shit, what if I am wrong? What if there is a person and the guy was the crazy one that trapped this person down in here? You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, well, let's just hold off then and see what we can at least confirm it, you know?
I'm still like, for me, it was, for me as a player and as a character, the guy that they sent us to just dispose of evidence of his existence, I'm not going to take his word for it to not do something. Like, so that was really a situation where it aligned on both a player and a character level. Because I was like, okay, so this,
that line.
Yeah, because why am I going to believe this guy who we're trying to get rid of the existence of him?
Yeah. Over Delta Green. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, though, is I looked at the same evidence you did, and from my perspective, what he was asking for was perfectly reasonable. From what we saw in his apartment, and from what his neighbor said about him, and from how neat and logical everything in his cabin was laid out, he had prepared a letter in case anything had happened. To me, it read as that he was perfectly normal, and he was thinking logically the whole time, and therefore, whatever he was saying needed to be done was probably needing to be done for a good reason. Which is
but
why
what if
I
we
was
went
all
down
for
there
it.
and it was his porn stash?
See?
Then we wouldn't have really lost anything.
I don't even have
the
porn
internet
stash.
is really, really great for porn.
It's true.
There's no service at that cabin.
Yeah, no service. I tried.
Now what? What are you going to do?
That should have been the
you can
first
go an
clue.
hour and get service. All right. We're going to give...
Let's be honest. The loss of Busty Backdoor Babes #7 is no loss.
That's personal preference, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to give Chris Parker the last question of today. What has been your favorite behind-the-scenes part of recording this year?
Ooh. Well, that's a good question.
It's a very meta question, yeah. I can start off. I think my favorite part is, or has been, I guess just the planning of it. Because I did go out of my way to not only learn the Cthulhu rules incorrectly, but also to figure out like how that's going to work within the context of the scenario, and then just sort of like springing it on these guys. Like to me, that's what gives me the juice to keep doing this. Is like it's not only just wanting to like create a really cool and interesting story for the listeners, but I also want to shock our players. And I want to introduce them to something that they hopefully have no clue what's coming from left field. And hopefully that has been the case. So that's probably my favorite part, is just, doing the prep work in advance and then springing on them. So, all over them, on the chest, neck, and face.
Remember what we talked about with our meeting? That we'll be in more control of what we say? Mine was seeing you guys was my from an outside perspective with everything on this planet right now, how scary it is, and not having contact. It was really, for my mental stability, it was really nice to be able to hang out with you guys for a couple hours once a week and have that. So thank you.
Nice.
Mine was, and I can tell by the viewership that it's clearly everyone else's favorite too, because I get millions of people messaging me about how much they love this aspect of it. The Matt and Gabe show that goes on every time Jeremy and Brian have to go pee because they're older. So me and Matt always have our Matt and Gabe show where the viewership goes up just by the millions, and it's just fantastic.
It's so weird that every time it's just us, like millions of people show up, and then as soon as you guys come back, they just all leave. I don't get it.
We really get that taste of fame that's just taken from us.
Next time we got to shut our microphones off.
Okay. I don't know if you saw that email, Gabe, but Tesla did still want to send us those free cars.
Oh,
so
okay.
we gotta decide if we're taking that or not.
The Matt and Gabe show will start featuring sponsors.
Yeah, and that actually does lead into the last part of this thing here.
Matt
so
doesn't get to say.
we'll let everybody know who is watching that we do intend for case 11 to begin broadcasting video again. So maybe you'll get to see the Matt and Gabe show. Or is it Gabe and Matt? I don't know who's first.
Oh, we got arm wrestle for
It doesn't matter. We're not like that. We're not
Yeah,
greedy.
no, it's cool. We don't fight over who
the
gets top
show.
billing.
Oh wait,
Show. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of Lovecraft Types. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you prefer. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review. Thanks for everybody who participated in the live chat today. Meanwhile, you can find us at lovecrafttapes.com with links to all our hashtag recommendos and social media channels, including Reddit, YouTube, and our Discord server where you can chat with us in real time. You can find me on Twitter at lovecrafttapes.
And if in the ensuing blankness of release you want to talk games or any other fun things happening in the world, you can find me on Twitter at TheRealWeirdKid. Or I've recently picked up Elder Scrolls Online again, so if you want to hit me up with a friend request, you can find me there at ThatOneWeirdKid.
And if you're a $1 million Fortune 500 company and you want to sponsor the Matt and Gabe show, you can find me at Lovecraft Gabe.
Way to get the plug, Gabe. Way to get the plug.
if somebody can tell me where to sponsor the Gabe and Matt show, you can reach out to me at Brian Podcasts on Twitter.
Until next time, roll for wear a mask. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody watching.